everyone. In today's episode, I am going to introduce you to a lovely student of ours at Intrepid English. Her name is Tania. She's been a student of ours for a little while, and I'm absolutely delighted to introduce you to her because she is just one of those people who I think everyone should meet. I love teaching her. I love speaking with her, and I always learn something from our conversation. So I really, really hope that you enjoy our conversation today.
Thank you. Me too,
Hi.
Lorraine. I love you too.
Thank you so much.
I introduce myself a little bit. My name is Tania Palma. I am line producer based in Madrid. I start my professional career as a graphic designer, but at some point my life changed because I love the animation area or the animation sector, and I study production to involve myself in this new world. And I know Intrepid English 3 years ago because I had an offer for this new role in my career, and I need to learn English super fast in a short time because I need to be able to express my thoughts, to have meetings, to arrange big teams, international teams, and so on. And I asked Lorraine, help me please with this challenge. And
Wonderful. And I was like, yeah, come on in, Tania. You've come to the right place.
We have a lot of work.
Oh, but look how far you've come. I really want to talk about that time when you first contacted me, because actually a friend of yours, Paloma, let's give a shout out to Paloma. Also a lovely lady. So she'll be delighted to hear that as well. Paloma and I were working together at the time, and when you told her that you needed to learn English fast for a new job offer, she said, "Oh, you need to go and see Lorraine at Intrepid English."
Yeah.
And we started working together then. And you said to me, "I need to learn English fast." And I hear that all the time. As an English teacher, when I hear that, I always say to people, okay, what do you need to do? What are your goals? What's your time frame? And I also like to know a little bit more about exactly what kind of fears or difficulties or challenges you're facing, so that we can tackle the most important ones first. And so I want to talk about that time there, because you just had a little baby, you just had this great job offer, and you needed to learn an entire language. And I thought to myself, wow, what a superwoman.
I want to help.
Yes, I wanted to help you, of course. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that time in your life. How did you manage to tackle so many challenges all at once?
Yeah, I really know. I think I am a little bit crazy, really, because I usually grow in the difficulties. I think in this moment I just have a baby, my second one. I received this offer, and I think is now or never. I need to learn fast, and I can't pass this opportunity in my career because it's too important, and you have one time in the life, no? I asked for help at the first time, and my big problem, I think I had in this moment a very low level. I don't have the minimum to start. I had a meeting with people talking in English perfectly, and I felt embarrassed. I can show my I don't know, my talent or my experience, my really my level in my career, but only for the language. I have a phrase you say in this moment, and you said, rephrase the phrases. And don't worry, Tania, you say the same, but slowly, without all the information you have in your mind. And it's a very good suggestion, because a little bit, I don't know how to say this.
Step by step, maybe
Step by step, I start to express. And when I felt, I am able to express the minimum I need in this situation, the journey really is complex sometimes, because sometimes you felt you improve a lot, and you felt, okay, I am a superwoman. I speak English for sure better than years ago. But at the same time, in a moment, you felt this progress is not with the same curve, and you need to manage the frustration at the same time. But I think it's a question to, like you say, step by step, always. And to like we said, I am doing. And you need to continue. I think my super skill, not only in the English learning, also in my life and in other learning, I think is the consistency. And we did the plan. I say, I talk with you every day, at least, at least 30 minutes, but every day. And I think this consistency, trying in my listening, trying in my speaking, and I have a very long way to continue learning, but it's step by step, like I say.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, you're talking there about the coaster that I had. This catchphrase, I'm doing it. That's become my catchphrase. Because, and do you know where it comes from, Tania? My niece, Ivy, I bought her a pair of roller skates when she was 4 or something. And I remember taking her out on these roller skates, and she kept falling into. I was basically carrying her the whole time, but she was moving forward. She kept slipping. Of course, it's roller skates. You can't get it right first time. But she just kept saying again and again. She kept saying, "I'm doing it. I'm doing it." And then my sister made me a little coaster that just said, "I'm doing it," on it. And that just became such a lovely phrase for me, because it's not about perfection. It's not about, achieving all of the goals straight away. It's about the journey. And it's up and down. And
if you never done, you can learn anything. You need to try.
You need to try and fall over. And you get there. Yeah, absolutely. So I really love that you found yourself in a position where you could express your talent a little bit more, because I see people every day who are very good at what they do, really good. But unfortunately, it's the language barrier that prevents other people from seeing that. And that breaks my heart, because there's so much talent out there, but that can become such a massive barrier, especially when you feel, embarrassed. If you don't want to be seen as making mistakes, or you don't want to be seen as someone who has a poor English level in a meeting, so you keep quiet and you don't say what you want to say, and you miss so many opportunities that way. So I love that you thought, well, it's now or never. I won't get this opportunity again. Yeah, the timing is quite crazy because new baby, amazing job opportunity, but you also need to learn this whole language, and that doesn't happen overnight, does it? But you never know what you can do until you actually start tackling it. And it's about who can help you, who can support you. That's a really, really important thing. So I'm really glad. Yay! So I want to talk to you about the journey that you went on learning English. You mentioned there you wanted to learn a little bit every day, and I really love that sort of consistency. It's very difficult when you've got such a busy life. So it's not about getting every single day some English, because sometimes life gets in the way, but it's about trying every week to get at least 30 minutes every day. And some days you're not able to do that. Can you talk about that a little bit more, and how you managed to stay consistent for so long?
I am conscious. This is the key, because maybe you have only 10 minutes one day, but when you have this consistency in the week, your attention is in the English, because you are, I don't know, you learn some words, or you read something in English, and you put your attention because you are training. If not, around me, anyone talking English, I am in Spain, and I have all the inputs in Spanish every day. But with this appointment and with this conversation, I have my attention in English, and I try to hear a podcast or read in English. Every input you have in the day is more in your buckets for learning English, and to have more vocabulary and so on. And I think it's the key, the consistency. With the babies is complex, but in this moment was a good time, because when the babies there are too small, pass a lot of time sleeping. And I use this first year with the most complex challenge in English and in the new role, and second years and so on, I have more skills and more tools to support the challenge. And I think now I have more confident to introduce my thoughts and so on, because I have more confidence. And I think another important key is to achieve enough confidence to show yourself in other language. Maybe the Tania in English is quite different, like the Tania in Spanish. This is the two important keys: the consistency and the and have confidence in yourself, really, in other language. I don't know. Intrepid English give me a lot of tools also, because I remember when I can put the camera in the middle of the lesson, for example, because I have my baby in an arm, or to change the lesson with one day and so on. It's important, the flexibility when you need to work with different needs in your life. Really, you need this flexibility to keep this journey and to keep this consistency.
Absolutely. I'm really delighted that we can offer you that kind of flexibility. The teachers are always happy to do whatever is going to benefit the student most. So obviously we're trained, so we know what to provide for you in terms of teaching. But then from time to time, you're like, I need help with this project. And we're like, okay, cool. What can we do? Let's work on this together.
I felt the teacher learning about the animation or learning about the production to talk with me about this. It's lovely. I really appreciate it.
That's so nice, Tania. Yeah, and we in our team meetings, we're like, Tanya's working on this really cool project, but we can't talk about it because we signed an NDA, but just it's so cool.
Yeah.
I've learned so many things in my time as an English teacher. I don't have time to teach English anymore. I'm working in a more managerial role now, but I love one thing about teaching English more than anything else. And there are lots of things to love about teaching English, but one thing that it's just so cool is that you learn a little bit about so many different fields and sectors.
Yeah,
and it's a joy, because what really drives you to do that is seeing the satisfaction on your students' face when they can do something they couldn't do before. And then you're like, yeah, I'll learn about investor relations, but you'll learn whatever you need to help your students. So we're delighted when we get a subject like yours, which is like, wow, that's really cool, and to see it develop and hear from you how the projects are going, and be part of your journey. That's delightful. That's really lovely. I always love that.
It's really helpful. I know well my sector, or I know well my profession, and it's yeah, it's helpful because talk about I know, and yeah, and at the same time you try training the vocabulary you need for the meeting, for example. And yeah, I appreciate a lot because I think it's a beautiful sector, my sector. Sometimes it's not easier because I don't know, I talk about the schedule or budget.
It's not always
Yeah.
gorgeous, glamorous stuff.
Yeah,
Sometimes
and
it's just
maybe the teacher said what say, but yes, I think it's great because your company have a very flexible system to adapt to all the people. With this lesson every day, you know really well your teacher, and at the end is your friend at the same time, and you are talking with a friend because you see every day. I see you more than my partner sometimes. Okay. uh, yeah, and you feel very comfortable in the lesson because you are talking with a friend, and okay, I talking about my day this very bad day or whatever, and in other lesson you speak more deeper about the project, and it's great because you are in a real conversation or important
yeah,
conversation. Because sometimes in the meeting I talk with super interesting people because I work with people around the world, and sometimes there are amazing people, but you don't have time to know each other. Or in my journey, I feel at the same time I have new friends
yeah.
from all the part of the world. It's great because I really enjoy the journey. I suffer in sometimes, but yeah, but yeah, I enjoy the journey. I think you learn more when you enjoy the journey.
You mentioned there your sons, and I want to talk about the journey that you've been on. So now Oliver, the youngest one, who was a baby when we first met, now he's 3.5. Is that right?
Yes,
3 years.
three and a
Yeah.
half.
um, 3.5. And then Noah is the older one. And I love that you have been going on a bit of a parallel journey with them where they've been learning English and you've been learning English as well. And that's been able to help them. And then recently you went to his school and you did a test as well. So can you tell us a little bit about that experience? Because that was a surprise to me. You didn't tell me. You didn't even prepare for this test, right? I
Yeah,
got
like I
these.
say, I am a little bit crazy, and I think why not? I go to the exam because it's an offer from the NOAA school, and it's opportunity to test myself and try at the same time. Okay, I think my journey in English teaches them how you all the time need to learn.
Yes.
And I think for Noah is a very good reference because he is show me his process. For example, when he was proud in English or wherever, but in English for sure, and say hello in the lesson. And here in Spain, we have official school in English and so on. When you need to attend to the class, and I really don't have time because I have a lot of work, and at the same time I need to attend my personal life. And yes, and for the test, I thought, why not? Really, I can test my evolution in English or my level. I really don't need the the certification, no? Or the
Yeah.
I don't need to pass the exam, but I say okay, I try, but only for curiosity, because I am curious person.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Great. You've got a certificate now that you didn't have before. I think it's so important that we check in from time to time and see what our progress is when we're learning something, especially when you're learning a little bit every day. You can make progress without realizing it. And then you go and do a structured, standardized test, and you go, oh, I'm,
Yeah.
I'm better than I thought I was. That's a great moment. A lot of people, they need English for their job or for their day-to-day activities, and they need to express themselves. And it's about fluency. It's about achieving the goal of each conversation, right? It's informal. And then there's other people who need it for academic purposes, and they're preparing for an exam. And they work really hard, and it's they're preparing with the materials that they need to actually be tested with. But normally, if you preparing for an exam, you need to work on the actual materials, the authentic materials. If you're preparing for life or business, like, it's a different situation at all. So I'm really impressed that you were like, I'm going to go and do that test with no preparation. And then you were really pleasantly surprised by the results. That's
Yeah,
really cool.
we when we did the plan for me, or adapt to my needs, I was sure I don't need really any test and any certification, because I need in this moment to only talk in English. But why not, if at the same time you can evaluate your progress, or you can have the certification at the same time, is okay, also. But for me, it's not the most important, because I need the real English in my sector. The meetings, for example, usually the English level is great, but I talk with French people, Indian people, Canadian people, and I really don't need the super strict English. I need to express, and I need to understand well the situation, to negotiate, for example. I have a lot of skills, but I need to express my thoughts and myself. I think these exams usually prepare for another needs. No?
Yeah, but you did brilliantly anyway.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
I think you should be very pleased with that.
I think it's important to recognize yourself, because for example, I work hard in my job and with my babies and so on. And sometimes you don't have enough. Yeah, and it's important, because I don't know, the imposter syndrome is for all the people, not only for the speaking English. Is for another reason. Or you are doing your best, and it's okay also.
I love that. You're doing your best and it's okay. I love that. I love that. Yeah. I think so many of us feel imposter syndrome, but I guess in a way, for me, it's a sign that you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, right? Generally, none of us like to be bad at something, but when you're learning something, when you're brand new at something, you're not going to be perfect at it, right? So yeah, be kind to yourself. Think, I'm doing my best, I'm doing it. And then just keep improving, just keep moving forward. I think that's the most important thing. Be patient with yourself when things are a little bit difficult. Every journey contains ups and downs, and you do need to be kind to yourself. And some weeks you're going to feel like, yeah, I've made loads of progress. You're like, listen to my English, it's amazing.
Yeah. I need to remember every time, because if not, it's impossible.
Yes,
And
yeah,
in the
exactly.
maternity, for example, is the same. You need to
Mm.
all the time. You need to give you congratulations, because you are doing
Right?
your best. Yeah.
You're doing your best. Yeah. And
Yeah.
when you're talking about motherhood, that is exactly what I mean. You need to be kind to yourself. I have many women in my life who have kids, and they are constantly feeling, and I mean constantly feeling guilty for something. It is so tricky because it is really hard, and sometimes nobody recognizes what you do. All of the hard work that you put in, the sleepless night, sometimes it can be so tough. But yeah, I mean, that's why I always try and tell my friends, my students, my colleagues, my family members, how well they're doing, because very few of us hear that enough, I think. And it's so important to hear that from time to time. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just better than it was. You know, you make progress.
Each day, one day at the same time, and each day you are your best and improve every day.
Exactly.
I think so. And at the same time, I have a very good reference because my mother was a wonderful woman, and I learned from her. Sorry, I really felt better with myself when I push me outside my control zone. And okay, at the first time I felt fear or embarrassed, or I felt I am not enough. But always when I passed this first time, I felt better with myself and I feel proud. For me, it's a good plan. Always to try to front my fears and try to improve in with English is the same. It's a it's a barrier and it's a challenge, and I think it's a very good thing. For example, Natalia helped me in some months ago to put myself in a public speech, and I really don't usually did in Spanish, more in English. I never did the speech in English in front of the people, and I think, okay, Tania, you need to try. And maybe it's not my best speech in the life, but yeah, but I did, and maybe the next time I did better. You can always improve, no, yourself.
When your goal is perfection, when you're learning a language, when you're trying to speak, that kind of pressure actually becomes an obstacle. So trying to make sure that you're talking, even though it might not feel perfect, you know, even if you aren't sure about the preposition or the verb tense there, but it's about expressing yourself and communicating. That's why I think teachers like Natalia are so great, because as one of her passion projects, she studies psychology and counseling and coaching and things. And so she brings to her English lessons that knowledge, that depth, you know, that I guess spirituality in some ways. Natalia does. You know, she's a yoga teacher as well. We are multifaceted human beings. There are many parts to us which can benefit our work, our life, our motherhood, our friendships. So being able to have these deeper discussions, and your teacher being able to recommend different concepts and methodologies to you that maybe aren't from the English textbooks, but from life. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And in Intrepid English, you have the possibility to change the teacher and to know different people. Because with Kate, for example, I love a lot in all the lessons because I don't know, we are similar in a lot of things. We have two babies and we talk about motherhood and so on, and it's great because you have a different conversation in different aspects, and it's very interesting, really.
Well, it's been lovely talking to you, Tania. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I've genuinely loved seeing you make so much progress. I've loved seeing you be able to apply what you've learned to your life, to your work, and to benefit from that. So I want to say thank you so much for all of your consistency, for your hard work, for your attitude, and also for being on the podcast today. That's the bonus. So thank you so much.
Thank you too, and enjoy the journey.